Coming up, I'm going to show you how to deal with that toxic boss, and then a new survey where employers are seeking skills over experience, and then more on the 4-day work week. And I coach you up. Let's go. Coaching you so that you can win in your work and in your life by making more money and experiencing more meaning. This is the Ken Coleman Show. So, there's so many horrible bosses out there. Goodness gracious. It's a function of really two factors. One, we have a hurting world, and a lot of people are hurting and miserable, and that stuff is oozing out of them. The second factor is they never have been led well. So now they're in a position of leading, and no one's ever modeled it for them. Those really are the two factors to why there's so many horrible bosses. So I've said before on the show, and I think it's important to point this out when I teach on something like this, that just because they're a horrible boss doesn't necessarily make them a horrible person. Now, they may be a horrible person, and even then, we can't forget that they're a person. And that hurting people hurt people. So, it's not easy. But I'm going to walk you through some very specific actions that you can and should take to try, this is the key word, try to redeem the situation and be able to coexist and maybe, hopefully, be the influence, and you lead your leader into potentially a much healthier interaction and maybe being able to stay. Here we go. Number one, you got to confront them. Now, I could probably do the entire show on this, but I will be succinct because I know a lot of you are going, hey, Ken, no freaking way, except your French is a little saltier than that. No way. They're toxic. You're telling me you want me to interact with the toxicity? Man, that stuff burns, Ken. I'm tired of being burned. I don't want to do it. I hate confrontation. Nothing's going to change. All of the things. I get it. But the reality is, if you have any hope or any open-mindedness towards the possibility of staying and not being miserable, because if you got a toxic boss, trust me, you're miserable, then we start with this. We got to confront them. Now, how you do that, it's a delicate thing. And you got to go in going, all right, I can only control what I do. I can only control how I react to what I'm about to say. So I go in and I go, look, here's the deal. I don't know if you're aware of this, so you never try to put them on the defensive. So the whole idea is to go, look, I don't know if you're aware of this. Here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I'm hearing. Here's what I'm feeling. Do you hear this? Do you see this? Do you feel this? So we're at least bringing them into the conversation to give them some chance to go, well, I don't see that. As opposed to, you did this, you said this, that's the wrong posture. They're already toxic, It's like going up to somebody who, it's like going up to your kid, right? You when your kid skins their knee, the first thing you do, you don't go up there and start rubbing you're like, hold still, I remember I used to go, Mom, blow on it, because it stung so bad. Hey, easy. We don't want to go right at the wound. We want to kind of talk around the wound and figure out the best way to deal with the wound. So that's the confront. You just got to say, hey, do you see this? Do you hear this? What we're doing here is awareness. And in making them aware of it in a way that hopefully does not put them on the defensive, now we're going to see whether or not they want to do anything about it. So remember, the confrontation here is not about solving it in the moment. Maybe it turns into this unbelievable conversation. They break down and they tell you everything and they apologize and it's this wonderful kumbaya breakdown, intervention and everybody's loving each other. Maybe that happens. It's possible, but that's not our intent here on the confrontation. It's to see, will they become aware and then what will they do? Second thing, you might have to just establish boundaries. So if you're not going to confront, maybe you establish some boundaries. You know what? I'm going to put up my own personal boundaries. When the boss says or does a thing that normally makes me want to go, punch a hole in the wall, here's how I'm going to handle that. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to respond right away or whatever. Create boundaries. Number 3, just focus on doing your job. If they're criticizing you, but you and your coworkers and your customers know that that's just something that's toxic over there and you're actually doing a really good job, at some point you just got to go, you're nuts. You're a lunatic, right? It's kind of like the street preacher when I go to the NFL games. The guy looks right at me, all right? Hey, I know where I'm going. I'm going to heaven. I've already taken care of business with my maker, my creator. This dude's looking at me. He don't know me, staring a hole at me going, you're going to split hell wide open. And I know the guy's not talking to me. I know that's a terrible example, but it's kind of funny. Like when the boss says stuff that you know is not true, it's like the street preacher. Street preacher doesn't know me. He's just mad at everybody. And by the way, I think those people are worried about going to hell. Prepare for the exit. This is not going to get better. I don't want to confront. The boundaries aren't working. I can't do good work in this environment. Okay, I get it. Notice I said several actions. I'm trying to provide everybody the menu. There's a little something on this menu for everybody who's got the toxic leader. You got to prepare for the exit. You got to get out of there. Hey, to protect yourself, maybe you need to be keeping a record of these things, right? Get your own files. Hey, HR has files. Why don't you have files? On January 19th at 4 o'clock p.m., the leader did this and said this in front of 4 other people and blah, 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 and I have witnesses. Hey, look, protect yourself. Arm yourself with the truth. And no matter how bad it is, always take the high road and don't burn bridges. I know it feels really good. Doesn't it feel good sometimes? Doesn't it just feel good? Doesn't it feel good to just get those middle fingers in the air and thrust them high for the world to see, whether you actually do that or not, but it's the emotional equivalent of that. Boy, it feels good, doesn't it? It really does. Guy cuts you off in traffic. Boy, it feels good to just unleash in the car. Beep, 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 beep. You know, whatever. Here's the deal. That doesn't do anybody any good. Yes, I know, Joe. I self-censor with my own sound effects. And finally, remind yourself, and this is important, remind yourself that the situation you are in is not a sentence. It's been a season. It might be a season for a little bit longer, but this is temporary. This too shall pass, right? Great words for all of us. 4 great words. This too shall pass. But in order for this to pass, you're going to have to take one or multiple of these actions. Why? Because life is too short. Work is too much of your time for you to stay in a toxic environment with a toxic leader and toxic coworkers. Trust me, it's scary, I know, but you have choices. I'm here to walk you through the path to get where you want to go. Get the book From Paycheck to Purpose. Read it while you're planning your exit. You can do this. Coming up, skills versus experience.
You were created to fill a unique role through your work, but it can feel overwhelming to figure out what that is. That's why I created the Get Clear Career Assessment. In just 15 minutes, you'll get customized results that clarify what you do best, the work you love to do, and the results that motivate you. All this helps you discover what you were born to do. And you'll get a list of professional possibilities to help you in your job search. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/assessment.
Have you ever had a moment when you discover something new and it changes your outlook? Maybe it was a hobby. Maybe it was a restaurant, a vacation spot. Well, this could happen for your work too. Maybe there's an awesome job made for you, and ZipRecruiter can help you find it. They are your personal recruiter, pitching your profile to employers and sending you jobs that all you have to do is click, boop, little button like that. I think it even makes that sound effect. I made that up. I don't know if that happens at all. Boop, but I love the sound. And it also drives Joe a little crazy. We have a long-standing little fun thing like that. By the way, back in the day, when we did the radio show for the first time, Alex, there was no control room. Joe was 3 or 4 feet away from me. We were all in one room. So you guys have it easy. You can laugh and joke and say whatever you want to about me, and I can't hear anything.
I'm not the best whisperer.
No, you are not. No, you're not. But you're a fantastic, fantastic professional. So anyway, Joe and I used to have all these facial signals and fun things. And then I would talk to him because he was right there. Poor guy. He just wanted to do his job, and I was always making him talk back to me on the air. But I was talking about ZipRecruiter, wasn't I? That little sound, boop. That's how easy. When they send you a job, you just go, yes. You don't have to submit a resume because your resume is already attached, and they've already told the company about you. The company said, Zip, we want to talk to so-and-so. And it's a free service. Easy and free. ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Okay, this is a welcome trend. Oh, I am so happy on behalf of you, the people. I really, really am. This is a new survey that is out that says this is a HireVue study. This is a video interviewing platform that helps companies set up video interviews with candidates. Anyway, they did a study and they found that 45% of companies are adopting a skills-first approach. 33% are replacing resumes as a top gauge with other skills-based assessments. Oh, look at this. We have a visual, and I'm doing all my own effects today. Look at that. There it is. This is an actual assessment, Get Clear assessment that measures talent. That's the skill part. Passion, that's the kind of work that gives you joy. And mission, those are the results that you care deeply about. In other words, values. And it puts it all together in a purpose statement, shows you your sweet spot. And companies need to be using this. The Get Clear Career Assessment, you can get it at kencoleman.com. But companies, this is exciting, are starting to replace resumes, which we already know from data that he spent about 7.5 seconds scanning resumes. Well, that wasn't effective. Duh. And so now they're now starting to use assessments and other things to go, hey, is this person actually a good fit? This is a direct quote from HireVue's organizational psychologist, Dr. Nathan Mondragon. By the way, that's a great name. What if I named it Ken Mondragon? That'd be fun. He says, typically the traditional way to view a potential employee is through a resume, but that's quickly changing because it can be limiting in terms of determining someone's potential skill set. He's right. Good doctor, you're right. In addition to adopting more of a skills-first approach in assessments, HireVue survey said 16% of companies are dropping college degree requirements for certain jobs. Yay! 18% of companies are also prioritizing boot camp training certifications instead of excluding candidates without degrees. Again, my friends at Bethel Tech, great example. 9-month program, training people in the world of tech. Companies don't care if you went to a 4-year degree. They just want to know, did they graduate Bethel Tech? Because Bethel Tech trains you for the hard skills and the soft skills. BethelTech.net, tell them Ken sent you, you get a discount. 9-month program online. HireVue survey also said 47% of companies are now evaluating more candidates from marginalized and overlooked worker groups. I'm so fired up about this. It's about freaking time. This includes mature age. So these are people that are retirees or in that category. Those of you in your 60s that still want to work, opportunities are coming. Undergrads, obviously we've been talking about that group. In the college age that may not be pursuing or not done with a degree. And junior workers. This is exciting, Alex. And I told you this was coming. I'm rarely right about anything in my personal life because I have 3 teenagers and I've been married 24 years. And so the key to a happy marriage is to realize, men, how not right you are. There's a little bit of marriage content, a little bonus content. But I said the day is coming where you're going to see companies start to get very okay and then get really intentional about hiring kids out of high school. And it's here. The numbers, 38% of companies are evaluating candidates under the age of 19. That's awesome news. So I think that's all I wanted to cover on here. Okay, a couple things in the survey, though, about what employees want and why they're having to look in all these non-traditional paths. It's always been about salary and benefits, but that's no longer just the case. They want more than that. They want good work-life balance, location. That means where they work. They want to do meaningful work. So that's not a surprise. So very interesting stuff there. I got to tell you, to see older people get opportunities to do more than just wipe the tables at Chick-fil-A, not that there's anything wrong with that. But we've had, I think in the last couple of months, several people call in their 60s, and they're looking for other opportunities. And I got to tell you, companies being willing to hire high schoolers. I mentioned Bethel Tech earlier. They just launched a program for high schoolers. Listen, if your kid loves tech and has been very good in that area, and you don't think they want to go to school, they don't feel that the social aspect, the extended summer camp of college isn't a thing to them, I would call Bethel Tech and talk to them about their program, because companies are already looking at this. Listen, how many 17, 18, 19-year-old kids can come in right now and with a minimal amount of training can crush what a 45-year-old does just because they're just more adept? Interesting. All right, so here we go. I've been talking about this 4-day work week. It's spreading. I said it would. I just didn't think it would happen this quickly. I'll be honest. This was one where I can't brag. This is happening faster than I thought it would. Sage Hospitality Group out of Denver is now offering a 4-day work week to attract Gen Z. They're not limiting it just to Gen Z. That headline can be a little confusing. But they certainly are trying to attract Gen Z. Sage Hotel Management President and COO Daniel Del Olmo said the business model aims to spark a better work-life balance while keeping Gen Zers. They have 6,000 employed workers across the country, so this is not some little small deal here. Employees hired to work the shorter work week will be offered the same 5-day work week salary and have the option to mix and match the 4 days that they work each week. This is a direct quote from the CEO. He said, you can take 1 day during the week and work on your home renovations and then take 2 days off and take your family to the mountains here in Colorado. On top of touting a 4-day work week, oh, this is fun. Sage Hospitality is also allowing employees to bring their dogs to work. Now, I got to pause here for a second because I can't help myself. I love the concept, but we have 1,000+ people here at Ramsey Solutions. Let's say that just 50%, let's say we changed our policy and said we're going to, by the way, it ain't happening. But if half of the 1,000+ people brought their dogs, that's a major problem. The dogs are humping each other and chasing each other around, crapping and peeing all over the place. A good thing can become bad. I don't know how that one works. I'd like to know more. But anyway, he said this translates into happy workers, and that translates into happy guests. I like everything. I think the dog thing's problematic, and I love my doodles.
Did you know that just like a product, you have a personal brand? It's the image or impression others form about you based on your interactions. And whether we realize it or not, our personal brand impacts opportunities to grow in our careers. That's why our team created the Personal Brand Survey. It's free, and it will give you personal and professional feedback so you can own your strengths and uncover any blind spots holding you back. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/brand.
I am a man of the people, make no mistake about it. And that means it's my job to scour the world of work and bring you relevant information. So I got two today that I never thought I'd say it. I never thought I would say this on the air, and yet I'm about to. Headline: Sleeping on the job. Thought I'd let that sit there for a second because I think some people who are listening or watching were head nodded off for a second. It's not lost on me, you fine folks, that a lot of you people listen and watch the show while you're at work. I don't know what to do about that, Alex. So I decided to just kind of move on. I try not to analyze it. I don't know what to think about it because I'm happy you're listening and watching. But some of you were actually close to snoozing, maybe snoozing when I said that. Let's just be honest. Well, okay, I didn't plan to say this. All right, if you're new to the show, all right, quick construct on what I teach. I define your dream job as being able to spend the majority of your day using what you do best, that's talent, doing work you enjoy, that's passion, and contributing or producing results that matter to you, that's mission. And so that's what defines the dream job. It's not the title, the position. It's that combination allows you to feel an emotion, not fill a position, right? So here we go. This is somebody's dream job, and I want you to just walk that through your mind. What talent, passion, mission makes this your dream job? What is it? Sleeping on the job? Casper is now hiring professional snoozers. Candidates will be paid $25 per hour to try out mattresses at local Casper sleep shops. The job also touts the potential to continue to work with the brand. So this is entry level, Alex. This is a 1-month deal. And so after the 1 month, if you've done a good job sleeping, and I'm going to break this down, I kid you not, this is unbelievable detail, then you might get a full-time job. They're going to hire 3 people, and they are hired to have the flexibility to sleep and create content from locations that best express their sleep personality. This reminds me of that show Alone on Netflix that I'm obsessed with, where they put these people out in the Arctic, and they have their own cameras. So there's no crew with them. So they're surviving. Have you seen this show? Alex, they're out there, and the deal is if you last 90 days, you win $1 million. But they're completely alone, but they film themselves. There's no crew following them around. They're truly alone. Anyway, so, all right, listen, this is really funny. Sleepers must be willing to sleep in public and in unexpected settings. I have questions because the way the article started out, it said that you're going to test mattresses in local stores. Now, all of a sudden, you got to be willing to sleep in an unexpected setting. It creeps me out a little bit. I don't know what that means. That's a little open-ended. I'd ask the question in the interview is my point. Man of the people. I'd ask, could you define unexpected settings? Sleeping in public in the store, I get that. By the way, couldn't do it. Could not sleep. I don't care how tired I am. I could not sleep in a mattress store in front of anybody. The company goes on to say they should also have a deep love of sleep. Parents all over the world are going, well, my kid, this is their dream job. Candidates for the opening should have the ability to power nap. Again, something I'm unable to do. Power nappers are people that can literally fall asleep, just about in any setting, situation, and get about 15 to 20 minutes, wake up and be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I wake up from a power nap and I feel like I'm hungover. That's what I feel like. And it doesn't do well for me. Listen to this. When sleepers aren't snoozing on the clock, their responsibilities include creating short-form videos, talking about all things sleep. And then one more perk, and you guessed it. Anybody want to take a guess what the dress code is? Pajamas. There you go. All right, next. Candy Funhouse has put out a help wanted ad. $78,000 a year to taste candy. Could be remote, could be in the office. Where do you want to taste your candy? Candy Funhouse is an online retailer of treats from chocolate bars to gummies and licorice. By the way, when I saw that in preparing for the show, I said to myself, how popular is licorice? I don't like licorice. I think it's a wasted candy. I'm not going to make you guys tell me right now, show of hands in the control room if you like licorice. Okay, Alex gives me a maybe. Basically, that means if there's no other candy out there and he's got a sweet tooth, he'll crush a licorice, but it's not his go-to. The duties for this job include leading candy board meetings, being the head taste tester, and all things fun. Several thousand candidates have already applied. Yeah, you think? I'm surprised the website didn't crash. The chief executive officer, Jamal Hijazi, said that he's been surprised by the number of golden ticket-themed applications and the elaborate videos of entire families offering to share the tasty duties and salary. Candy Funhouse, based outside of Toronto, is headed by a quartet of 20 and 30-something siblings who grew up in the area and whose parents owned a donut shop and a local restaurant. The company said the chief candy officer position is open to applicants as young as 5. Come on, that's all marketing. They're not going to hire a 5-year-old. Although parental permission would likely be required. You think? Many parents have indeed filmed their child filling out the application and posted it online. Now, as you can imagine, when the company put this out on social media, Instagram and TikTok, it went crazy. And, you know, these kind of things take a life of their own, right? Like all these urban legends and all these rumors. So this is funny to me. He noted that reports on social media, this is the CEO, claiming that the chief candy officer will be required to eat 3,500 pieces of candy per month are incorrect. He said that number actually represents the different varieties of candy that we stock. He goes, but that would be 117 pieces of candy a day. Your stomach would explode. There's no chance a 5-year-old can, I mean, yeah, it's unbelievable. So on both of these things here, we have entered into a new world of work. And I point these things out because I do think it is actually important for those of you out there to realize that there are so many different ways to get paid and to do something you enjoy. And, you know, you remember, I don't know how long ago it was, Alex, we had a guy call in and it wasn't this glamorous. He tasted, I think it was cheese or yogurt or something. This is a real, yeah. And so, I mean, this is a real thing. And he was asking me if he should switch. He wanted to go from one cheese division to another cheese division. He wanted my opinion. And I'm not so sure it wasn't a prank call. But he sounded very serious. So, you know, we share these stories because there's an opportunity for everybody. All right, really quick, I got to ask. Favorite candies in the control room. What's your all-time favorite candy?
I'll go first. Peanut M&Ms.
Peanut M&Ms.
Yeah.
That's the top 5 for me.
Gotta have it on every road trip. A Butterfinger.
Dude, that's top 5 for me as well.
I like the Cadbury mini eggs you get at Easter.
Oh, the mini eggs,
Amazing.
not the traditional. Okay, this is amazing. All 3 of those, top 5 for me, but no one's mentioned my number 1. All right. Andrew, what's up? I can't hear him.
Oh,
What is
you
it?
hear me, Joe? All right, I got to go with Alex. Peanut M&Ms.
Peanut M&Ms. Okay, great. This is very exciting. All 3 of those in my top 5, except for Amanda. I want the full-size Cadbury egg. I got to have the full size. But for me, the absolute greatest candy of all time, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Give me the cup, baby. I mean, The way that thing comes out of the package, it's just you could just open up my mouth and shovel it in like I'm a wood chipper. Greatest of all time. All right. Boy, I really want one of those right now. But hey, we got to do some work. Coaching coming up next.
If the thought of attending a networking event makes you break out in hives, you're not alone. And I'll let you in on a secret. Networking in the traditional sense doesn't work, but genuine connection is all about relationships. That's why we created Networking the Right Way. This free guide is the low-pressure, high-impact way to overcome the awkwardness, build real relationships, and turn your connections into opportunities. To get the guide, go to kencoleman.com/network.
All right, folks, coaching you up so that you can win in your work and in your life by making more money and experiencing more meaning. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Coach Ken is in. Hannah joins us now in Atlanta, Georgia. Hannah, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet, Hannah. What's up today?
Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of information about my situation, and then I'll get to my question, but I'll keep it brief, okay?
Great.
Okay. So I am a leasing and marketing manager for a student living apartment complex. We have a capacity around 800 residents. Our complex is having another building built that will double our current capacity. The original plan was for there to be 2 different management teams running each of the buildings. I just found out that instead of having another management team run the second property, they are expecting the current managers to split their time and manage both of the properties. I currently make $28.85 hourly, and I make roughly around $60,000 before tax. Mm-hmm. My question is, what would be a reasonable pay increase to accommodate for the double workload, and how would I go about that conversation?
Yeah. I think what you have to try to figure out to the best of your ability, I'm not quite sure you can. I'm just unintelligent about it. Mm-hmm. But is there a market rate? Where's the source to where you could say, okay, for property managers that manage this many units, whatever, this is about what they make. Is there something like that exists?
So what I have done research to see like locally, in my area to see what other leasing and marketing managers get paid. And I am currently on the high end. However, we are the largest complex in our market currently, and then doubling it, we're going to be like twice as big as any other complex in our area.
Okay, so good. The good news is you're on the high end, but you're not completely at the top. So at least you've got that range in your mind. Okay, so, and I'm just, for example, what is the highest? Since you're about highest, 60, what is the highest?
The highest that I saw whenever I was doing my research was 75.
All right, that's a number.
That was for... Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That was for complexes that were like 200 less occupants than us.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, but at least we have a number in our head, right? Because the reality is you're making 60 now, and the real issue comes to, and I know it's really hard to put a percentage on this, but just for our conversation, because I'm walking you through how to bring this up. What do you think the percentage of increase in your time, your workload, because they're asking you guys to split it. So they're absolutely increasing your workload. How much? What's the area by which it's going to be more intense, or what areas will it be more for you?
Right. Yeah. So because I'm in charge of leasing and marketing, I'm in charge of finding students to live at the complex. So I originally was only responsible for filling 800 bed spaces, and now I'm going to be responsible for filling 1,600 bed spaces.
Oh, okay. Now, do you currently get a piece of that action based on, revenues, or are you just salaried?
So I am hourly,
and right.
I do not get individual commission. It's group commission, and it honestly doesn't add that much to the paycheck.
Okay, all right, but this gives me an opening. If I'm you, I am presenting not an exact number or an exact proposal, but ideas. So when you go to somebody for a leader like this, there's a reason why they haven't hired somebody else, right? I don't know what the reason is, but you're smart. You know, there's a reason why they're not adding somebody to take this over. They're going, well, we're going to take our existing people and we're going to add to them. So we got to step gingerly on this. And so if you can make it about performance and say, okay, look, here's the deal. I know that you guys obviously can't afford or are choosing not to hire someone else to do this. This is going to increase my workload by this, and this, a lot more pressure. Are you open to a really nice percentage based on me filling up units? You know, could you give them an either or can I get a 15% bump, whatever that number is in your mind? You know,
Right.
So I would come up with, you're going to give them options, not put them in a corner, but give them options. Say, hey, you know, it is what it is. But have you had any conversation with them at all?
I have not. So I haven't had any conversation
So when
with
you
them.
sit down with them, just go, hey, I understand what you guys are doing. Could you explain, you know, what is this? Is this long-term? Is this short-term until we fill it? Then we bring somebody. I'd ask a lot of questions about what's behind the business decision. And then I would just ask them as though they've already thought of it. What will be our compensation changes? Just kind of ask it like that. Put the ball in their court and then have some ideas in the back of your head that looks like you're spitballing, but you and I both know you've prepared for it. And if you don't like what you hear, move on.
So you just landed the new job. Congratulations. You've made it past the interviews and now it's time to onboard with excellence. That's why I created How to Stand Out at Your New Job. This free checklist will help you succeed from day one and may even help you get promoted. These practical steps set you up to add value, help your team win, exceed your leader's expectations, and ultimately set you up for a successful transition. To get started, just go to kencoleman.com/new.
Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. I'm coaching you so that you can win in your life and in your work. More money, more meaning. That lifts everything. Hayden is up next in Springfield, Missouri. Hayden, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken, how are you doing?
I'm living the dream, Hayden. What are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing the same.
Good.
Hey, I recently left a pretty great job as a supply chain analyst to take on a job at a consulting as a consultant at a top 10 accounting firm in the U.S. So
nice, Hayden.
Company treats their employees very well.
Come on, man. Way to go.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. Yep. I love the people I work with. The work I'm doing, though, is not quite what I thought it was going to be. It's not my favorite.
Uh-oh.
And so
what's off?
So
you thought it was this. Turns out it's that. What are we talking about?
So I'm a finance major, and the job description had a little bit of accounting, a little bit of finance, and so I kind of was really pumped for that. But it's really a lot of I'd kind of say glorified data entry, some accounting principles, but not that much, and like zero finance. So I kind of regret taking the job now, and so I'm just kind of figuring out. How do I ask maybe to get another role or
how
take
big
a
of a bump was it for
company?
you?
Pretty big bump, about $15,000.
And in the interview process, did you have detailed discussions about the job description as it was listed?
Yeah, I did. I actually got. It's kind of confusing. I actually got not really offered the job, but had like a second, third interview, took the other position. Then that job kind of headed into a different direction. They were rolling out a new system. A lot of hours were going to be required of me, and I'm newly married. So I figured
Okay, hold on a second. Now you have to forgive me. I'm confused. Okay. So you recently got a job where you are now.
Yes.
But when you said you got interviewed 2 or 3 times and you took one position with this current company, and shortly after you took it, it changed to what you're doing now?
Okay, so I was offered I didn't take this job until June, this job I'm at now. I was offered this job in December of 2021, but I actually took the supply chain job instead.
Okay, so you
The
stayed in the
supply
same
chain-
company.
I actually took
Okay.
I took a different job with a different company instead.
Okay,
and
got
then-
you.
Yep.
Okay.
I reached back out when things were a little different at the other company. Not really different, but just, hey, it's not quite what I thought it was going to be. I decided to reach back out to the company and say, hey, I know we interviewed and I took the other job. And they actually were gracious with me and said, yes, let's pick it back up. So they interviewed me again and gave me the job.
The current job that you have.
Yep. Current job I have now. Yep.
But and you had the same problem with the last job. It wasn't what you thought it was going to be.
So sort
We
of.
got a
that
pattern. We got a
also-
pattern going on here. So here's the point.
Yeah.
I know I'm confused right now. I'm slowly getting out of it. I don't want to confuse our listeners and viewers anymore. The bottom line, what I'm trying to ask is in your interview process with this current company, in this current job, that you're not doing what you thought you were going to be doing. Was it not clear? Did you not have clear conversations in the interview process that you thought you were going to do finance and accounting and now you're doing glorified data entry? I mean, was that not clear? Or what, did they talk about it and then they changed their mind and pulled the carpet out? How is it that different than what you applied for? That's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of.
Yeah, no, I think that I think they were pretty clear. I thought I thought in my mind it was going to be a little bit different, more accounting principles and things like that. And so far, what I've been doing just hasn't been that.
So they were clear on what you're doing now is what they said you were going to be doing.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
All right, I had to get to that to be able to give you advice.
Okay.
I mean, you signed up for this job.
Right.
And you just assumed, or maybe you hoped, maybe you tried to talk yourself into it because it was a nice bump. You're not the first person to take a job for money, but you tried to talk yourself into, well, it's not just about money. I'm going to get in and I'm going to get to do accounting and finance. And they're like, no, this is what we hired you to do. So now you're in a situation to where you don't have any real recourse. You don't have any real, ability or leverage to go, hey guys, you hired me to do this, but you've got me doing that. That's not the case based on what you told me, correct?
Yeah.
Well, so now you got to decide. Are you willing to stay in this current role for the opportunity to step into a role, if it exists, sounds like it does, to do the accounting and finance? So the question is, are there positions in the company that are more in line with your sweet spot and work you want to do?
Yeah, they are. And I've been looking at their careers website, and they have so many openings, even to where I am at now. That
so it may be a good idea to stay put and raise your hand and go, hey, this is ultimately the kind of work I really want to do.
Okay.
So you have a good attitude, and that starts with gratitude, right? Grateful for the 15% bump. That's pretty awesome, right?
Mm.
You like the people. You said you love the company. So let's be grateful for that too, and I know you are. So we're going to focus every day. I'm grateful for the raise. Grateful for the steady paycheck. I'm grateful for the company. I really love the company. You know what? I made a mistake. I took a position that I shouldn't have taken because you tried to will yourself into, well, it will turn. But now you go, you know what? I made my bed. Now I got to sleep in it. So now I'm going to stay engaged. I'm going to do a great job. I'm going to crush this role. And then I'm going to raise my hand and say, hey, eventually I want to move into this role. Let me know what I got to do, because that's my real jam. And I took this job because I love this company. Here's why I love this company. And I knew that if I got in, that I'd have the opportunity to move up. So that becomes your narrative internally for yourself and externally to your leaders. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
So here's the good news. You're in the arena in a company that you really love, and they have a lot of jobs that are more aligned with who you really are. So that's the good news. So you just got to be patient while you persist. You got to do a good job in the now and hope for the opportunity to get the opportunity for the next. Does that answer your question? Was that what you're looking for here?
It answers my question perfectly. Answers so well, I don't have to ask the second question.
Okay, great. Because here's the deal. If I had found out from you that there weren't finance and accounting positions within this company that you love, I would say, well, your move is to leave. But I don't think that's the case now. I think if you're patient and you do what you need to do, then I think opportunities are going to come your way. And I feel quite confident of that. So again, thank you, Hayden, for the call. So here's the takeaway. And I don't want this to come across as me. I'm not getting on Hayden. Love Hayden. Love you. But I can't tell you how many times I hear this from people. And the data in the news, I've been sharing this data on the show. They're calling them, they got a name for folks that make a decision to leave one company for a bigger paycheck and they don't do their homework. Because you can be lied to if you don't do your homework. I got news for you. If you do your homework, you can't be lied to. A company cannot tell you a half-truth, cannot sway you with a carrot that's not representative of the full job if you've done your homework. But these boomerang employees are people that took a job and now they regret it. Hayden's one of those people. But the good news is he has opportunity where he is. Some of you have made this move and there's not an opportunity to really do what you want to do. And so here's why I bring this up. The interview process is just as much for you as it is for the employer. Do your homework. Look at it from 80 different angles. Make sure it's a good fit. Hey, I got to get out of here. Remember this, you matter. You have what it takes. Press on.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.